Alright boys, so it's that time of the month again where I'm going to have to inform you about what events are going to be coming to the NA version of FGO, and it's looking like October is going to be a pretty chill month for the game. Nothing super stressful is really going to be hitting the game. I mean, Imaginary Scrabble should be coming out, and we'll kind of talk about that just a little bit, which can be a bit of a more annoying event, I suppose, but really nothing giga stressful like Summer 3 should be coming to the game, or nothing as boring as, say, Oku on a rerun coming back should it be really afflicting us over here. But you guys know the drill. If you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for daily FGO content. Also, I stream every weekday over on my Twitch, linked down in the description down below. So if you want to see me play FGO or play some other games, make sure you click that link in the description. But before we begin, this video is once again sponsored by Loot Cakes. Now, a lot of you guys probably do know of Loot Cakes as they are a long-time sponsor of the channel, but if you don't know about Loot Cakes, let me tell you about them. So, Loot Cakes basically lets you redeem some of the points that you get from doing things like discovering and playing new free-to-play games, and you can use those to actually redeem your points for some gift cards over here for something like GameStop or a Google Play card, things along those lines, just for doing stuff like playing games and whatnot. And even if you're not a huge spender or something, you can win $100 in gift cards every single week just by watching some game trailers, installing new games, and stuff along those lines. Now, they are only available in the US at the moment, and you must sign up using a Gmail account. However, they are working on adding new countries and new email methods, so that will come in the future. Also, for my viewers, they're actually going to be doing a $50 gift card giveaway for anyone who has created a Loot Cakes account using the invite link in the description down below. But make sure that you use a Gmail account to do it before October 15th. And don't worry, if you've already made an account using my link in the past, you will be able to be entered into this just automatically. So don't worry if you've already done this. But with all that being said, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming, and thank you Loot Cakes again for sponsoring this video. So first order of business, we actually already know that the rerun is going to be live on the game, and it's actually a little bit early. As you can see on the JP version, it dropped on the 21st, and for us it's going to be dropping in a couple of days, or it's already dropped by the time this video has come out. Regardless, we have it announced and we know it is coming, and it's really not going to be all that bad. Yeah, it is a lottery event, but it's a rerun lottery, meaning you can only farm 10 boxes, so you really can't go super ham taro on this event. You can't just go crazy farming unless maybe there's like a free quest node that you really want to farm for some reason because it drops some mats that you need. Aside from that, it's just going to be a nice opportunity for some older masters to go ahead and get some extra gold prisms, and if you're a newer player, you'll be able to acquire Santa Nightingale. Now, they did throw us a little bit of a curveball that I'll kind of talk about for some of these other events down here, and then they gave us a second banner like Lisengo likes to do, and that second banner is the Jalter rerun banner. We're actually getting her really early because I believe her next rate up would have been in the beginning of like 2024, I believe, is when her next rate up for the NA version would have been. So that's a little bit of a curveball that they threw us, but really you shouldn't struggle too much with this event. You have plenty of time to just kind of burn through some natural AP, maybe a couple of like the bronze and silver apples you get from the event to really just kind of casually take this event. Just a nice little break after doing Lotto and doing the Skahawk Fest and the Grail Live and all that good stuff, right? After doing all that nonsense with that Skahawk brought, and you know, if you also did the Oku rerun, all that tapping, you know what I'm saying, trying to get through the entire labyrinth, right? After all that nonsense, you know, we have a nice easy event that will give you some nice little rewards, right? The lotto is still not bad, it's just limited to 10, and you'll get a pretty solid free-to-play unit out of it. But then we move into Imaginary Scrabble. So towards the beginning, I was kind of saying it's not that stressful, and it kind of is. So here's kind of how the event's going to work. You're basically playing Battleship, and it can be really annoying to do. Think of it kind of like Oku, ironically, which I just mentioned, where you're doing a lot of like tapping around, and you're not doing a whole lot of gameplay, right? Like you're not like farming a lot, you're kind of just navigating around the board, right? And it could be a little bit annoying. I know when it first came out on the JP version, and despite the fact that I'm not able to read the language, right, that also kind of made it a little hard to clear the event when you actually have no idea what's going on because you can't read it. But at least when I played it on the JP version of the game when it came out, it wasn't too bad. It was just kind of like a hassle event. Like it was kind of just, I don't know, not super fun. I didn't find the gimmick to be super entertaining, but man, if you like stuff like Battleship, you might really enjoy it. You'll get like all these little pieces and stuff that you can use to also like clear out more of the board, and after you clear one board, you move to another one, and it's not really that offensive. It's not as bad as like the dice game, right? You know, the the one with Voyager, like that event, everybody like hated the board game one. I don't think it's that bad, but it's different, but it's not terrible, right? And even if you don't like that, it brings a lot of really cool servants out. First and foremost, Yang is going to be getting a rate up, and Yang is a really, really good arts DPS. Like, if you got yourself Castoria, you might be tempted to summon for Yang, because you can do some pretty bonkers, redonkulous things with Yang, because her special damage mod is pretty much free. It's just like, hey, if they're burned, boom, smack them for big damage. Like, you can give one of your Castorias like the command code that just inflicts burn on people. Finally has a use if you're going to use Yang in that team comp, right? Can be really good for stuff like that. Saber Frankenstein, I think, is very underrated, even without Scotty, but with Scotty, she's really, really good. Very good at like looping her NP and doing some pretty decent damage. All of her skills have like quote-unquote demerits to them, but I think her skills are also so powerful that it really doesn't matter. Lancer Raiko is still pretty good. She might be aging a little bit, but it's like the core of what she's doing is still really, really good. And I still think that it makes her pretty relevant as either like a DPS or like a pseudo support DPS if you want to use her in that vein. And then you guys know how I feel about MHXX. Not only am I a huge simp for Saber Faces, but I think she is one of the best arts DPS servants in the entirety of the game. So it's almost like you can summon on this banner and either walk away with Yang or XX, and you pretty much are going to be covered when it comes to your arts DPSs. Not only to mention that not only does Castoria give you a special damage mod against threats against humanity, but XX also has that damage mod as well. So like any of those like big beast enemies or whatever, she is just going to like mop them up and just trivialize those fights, right? And again, she's got a very, very good kit, can bomb some stars, has invincibility, a nice battery, decent attack buff, all that good stuff, right? And then the new servants are going to be Van Gogh and Nemo. Now, I don't know how many people are actually going to be excited in summoning for Nemo. He's also, ironically enough, like these guys, also an arts DPS servant. And he's interesting because Nemo basically has like 80 different levels of damage he can do, right? Just depending on how many of his skills are actually up. Because the dude has just a Bible chapter of different buffs and different stuff that he can do. And it's just a matter of like, are you in a void battlefield? Are you on a water side battlefield? Is the enemy giant? Do you got all your buffs going? It's like so much stuff that he can do. It's kind of like the Berserker version of, say, Shonagun from the next summer that we're going to be getting, where she just has so many different damage mods that her damage can fluctuate all over the place, right? But generally, he's pretty good, right? Van Gogh, I think, is going to be the servant that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to this month, because Van Gogh's kind of like the quick version, and I say quick loosely, quick version of Himiko over here, because while she does have like some quick support that she's able to give to people, it's not like her specialty, right? It's not like she's dedicated to only buffing quick servants. You can pretty much just use Van Gogh in any team comp, and like just to demonstrate that, she's got one of the most broken NPs of all time. Like, look at how insane this is, right? And there's actually incentive to go for higher NP copies. Like, if you have someone on your friends list that is like a simp for Van Gogh and they get her to NP5, bro, this lady's going to be bonkers, right? Like, she's going to be insane. But I mean, like, look at everything that she's doing, like negging defense, big crit buff if you're in existence outside of the domain, which is pretty much all of the foreigners. If you're any of those people, bombing stars and attack, like everything is just stupid dummy nutty, right? Like everything is so dumb about this servant, right? And then what I mean about like her having a little bit of a quick buff is I believe you have this right here, and I believe this is also a an on attack quick buff right here. Yeah, like if you use her quick cards, you can actually like stack some buffs. But it's like, really, aside from like this is pretty much the like most quick specific thing, because this is just like, oh, just attack with your quick cards, right, to get more attack, right? Just stuff like that, right? Like, it's not like you're attacking with the quick card to make your quick card stronger. That's why I say she doesn't really have like a quick niche. It's just like, well, she wants you to like attack with quick cards and she lowers the enemy's quick resistance, but everything else is free, right? Even if you want to call the other stuff not free, because, you know, if you're using like a Lancer, right, they probably got like double buster, double quick. They could probably make use of that as well, but she's going to be really, really good. Kind of tempted to summon for her because she's a little nutty. I actually, and this is my start a little flame war in the comments or something, but I think she's a little bit better than Himiko in my opinion. Like, if you're gonna go for like an actual support type servant, I think she's a bit better, but that's also because Himiko's like a DPS slash support, whereas like Van Gogh could be your DPS, but she kind of just wants to make the entire party ridiculously strong. But if there was one servant that I had to summon for him, like I definitely was Ian over Van Gogh over Himiko, because Van Gogh's kind of nutty. Now, this is the last thing. We might get this towards the end of the month because we're getting the Christmas rerun a little bit earlier, well, a lot earlier, right? So we might see this sneak in towards the very end of October, maybe. And I also wouldn't put them past it to maybe shuffle an event around or two for like Halloween. Like for instance, like Doman, if they wanted to put like high-end Kyoto towards the end of the month for like a Halloween thing, because look at Doman, he's a scary dude, right? Look at him, he fits Halloween. If they wanted to shift that around, that might make some sense, but I don't know if they actually will shift that around per se, specifically for Doman, right? And I guess they could also just have Van Gogh be the Halloween person, quote unquote, right? Because Van Gogh's third ascension is terrifying. I mean, have you not seen this? Look at this lady. She's scary, all right? So maybe she still works, right? But they might shove this in towards the end. Really not a huge deal unless you're going for Murasaki. I mean, Murasaki's cute. She's really good as well. But for most masters, it's going to be like, oh, cool. A little bit of QP, some nice apples for the next lotto event coming up. 10 tickets is always nice. And then that's really going to be about it. Oh, yeah, and then you have the craft essence thing. But for everybody that doesn't level up their craft essences, boy, oh boy, you better start working on those CE bombs. We just got the Gouda Gouda event, and that made it really easy to make CE bombs because of the 3 to 4 star CEs. You actually get 4 CE bombs. That actually made it really easy. So if you want all these free Saint quartz, you better get to bombing, bro. But aside from that, not a whole lot else coming with this. I'm kind of personally coping that this will bring the update for the speed up button. That's supposed to come with Lost Belt 6. But usually during like the download campaigns, they kind of like throwing new stuff at us. They like to be like, oh yeah, here's like a new slice of life thing that we're throwing in there. And I'm really coping and crossing my fingers that if we get this like really late into the month, like this is kind of like the last thing we get, I'm hoping we get the speed up button. But that's definitely cope. Don't take that as like word of God from me or anything. I'm literally just coping about that. But yeah, like I'm saying, this should be a very, very chill, relaxed month. You know, nothing here is like super, super stressful. Pretty easy event off the coattails of all of this nonsense over here. So that should be a very nice rerun. You know, Imaginary Scrabble, it might be interesting, right? You might have fun with it. Who knows? Kind of depends on the person. And then we might see the 22 million download campaign. But let me know what you guys think about October. I'm pretty excited for it. It looks like it's going to be a nice, chillax month. Probably going to be a little more hype on the JP version of the game with all of the different Lost Belt campaigns and stuff that we're moving into. But, you know, sometimes that's just how it be. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video.